You think you need to force your mind to focus to have control over your day, but Buddhist monks discovered 2,500 years ago that it's exactly the opposite. When you stop fighting against your scattered mind and learn to observe your thoughts like leaves falling from a tree, something magical happens. Your attention naturally becomes like a laser beam, without effort, without struggle. You don't need to control your thoughts. You need to understand how your mind actually works. And when you do this, every moment of your day transforms into an opportunity for total presence. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your like and comment from which part of the world you're watching, because now I'm going to tell you everything. Do you ever feel like you are losing control of your day? Many people wake up in the morning with a plan. They want to finish their work, take care of their home, and spend time with loved ones. They hope to move calmly from one thing to the next. But often, things do not go as planned. Small interruptions, sudden changes, and even thoughts inside the mind can make the day feel out of control. Instead of feeling calm, people start to feel lost or upset. For some people, this feeling happens many times a day. You may begin your morning wanting to focus on something important. Maybe you sit at your desk or in your kitchen, ready to do your first task. But as you start, you find your mind wandering. Thoughts about other things jump in. You remember something you forgot yesterday. A worry about the future comes up, or you notice sounds in the room, a message on your phone, or even your own feelings, like hunger or tiredness. Each new thing seems to take your attention away. You try to return to what you were doing, but the distraction comes back again. After some time, you may feel frustrated or guilty because you believe you should be able to stay focused. This desire for control is very common. Almost everyone wants to feel in charge of their own life. People want to plan, act, and see good results. Control feels safe. When things are clear and organized, the mind feels calm. So when the day brings confusion or too many changes, it can feel like things are slipping away. Some people may start to feel anxious or even angry when they lose control of their attention. They may tell themselves to do better or to try harder. There is a strong belief in many places that being focused means never letting your mind wander. People are told that to be productive or successful, they have to pay full attention at all times. This message comes from many sources like school, work, or even friends. You might think you are supposed to stay on task from the moment you begin until you are finished, and that any distraction is a problem. If you do get distracted, you may feel as if you failed. This can lead to a cycle of trying, failing, feeling bad, and trying again even harder. This cycle can be tiring. After many hours or days of fighting for focus, the mind and body feel worn out. You may start the day with energy, but after many tries to control your thoughts, you become tired or tense. Often, people do not even realize this is what is happening. They only notice that by the end of the day they have no energy left, or they feel bad about not doing enough. The wish for control is there, but the effort used to find it begins to use up all their strength. Trying to control the mind this way does not solve the problem. In fact, the more you try to force focus, the harder it becomes. You may tell yourself, "I will not get distracted," or "I will push away all other thoughts." But soon you notice another distraction coming up. You fight with yourself, but the mind does not always listen. The harder you struggle, the more tired and discouraged you become. Distractions do not go away. They might even seem louder or more powerful the more you resist them. People may look to self-help books, advice from friends, or even online searches to fix this problem. These resources often promise new tools or tricks to control attention. They might talk about making strict rules for yourself or using reminders and alarms. Some people try to use more willpower. They say, "I will make myself focus no matter what." They might set up their space to remove all distractions, but the thoughts in the mind still appear. No matter what you try, distractions seem to find a way through. You may notice that even after your best effort, your mind still slips. You complete part of a task, and then your attention fades. You plan your day, but the plan changes when family, friends, or work needs your help. Or you sit down to think and your mind brings up memories or worries from the past. All of these things can take your sense of control away. It is easy in these moments to feel upset with yourself. You might feel angry because you are not working harder. You may feel sad because you think you are not strong enough. Sometimes, you may compare yourself to others who seem more organized or focused. You may say, "Why can't I be like them? Why is it so hard for me?" These kinds of thoughts can make the feeling of losing control even stronger. Life today often makes this problem worse. Technology, news, and busy schedules fill the mind with more and more information. Almost every minute, something asks for your attention. It could be a phone call, a message, a new idea, or a feeling inside you. It is normal to try to keep up, but soon there is too much to handle at once. The mind jumps from one thing to another, trying to keep control but feeling overloaded instead. Some people try to solve this by making stricter rules. They make long lists, put up reminders everywhere, or block out time for each task. Sometimes these tools help a little, but often they add more pressure. There is more to remember and more things that could go wrong. The wish for control becomes a kind of stress itself. Instead of making life feel easier, it makes life feel harder and more rigid. You might notice other signs of this stress too. After a day of struggling with focus, your body may feel tight. Your head aches or your stomach feels bad. You notice your breath is fast or shallow. These physical signs are reminders that the mind and body are connected. When the mind fights for control for many hours, the body starts to feel it too. This search for control can change how you feel about yourself. Over time, you may believe that losing focus means you are weak or lazy. You may judge yourself harshly. This creates a habit that is hard to break. You try to force yourself to focus, you fail, and then you feel even worse. Each day the cycle repeats and you wonder if you will ever be able to have a calm, clear mind. Yet most people have never been taught any other way. In school and at work, the message is always to try harder and to never stop paying attention. If you ask for help, you may get the same answer: just focus more. Few people talk about the natural way the mind works. Few people say that it might be okay to get distracted or that you do not always have to fight your mind. Because almost no one learns about this, everyone keeps struggling in the same way, hoping that if they just use enough willpower, things will finally get better. This feeling of struggle is not your fault. It is something that many people share. It does not mean you are failing or that there is something wrong with you. It is just part of being human. The mind is always active. It moves from one thing to another, often by itself. No one has perfect focus, not even the people who appear calm and organized from the outside. If you look deeply, you may see that the wish for control comes from a hope for peace. People want their days to feel simple and their work to feel easy. They want to enjoy time with family, finish what needs to be done, and feel good about themselves. There is nothing wrong with this. It is a very good hope to have. But the way people try to reach this peace is often by using force against their own minds. This approach does not create more peace or control. In fact, it can make life feel much more difficult. Think about your own day for a moment. Remember a time when you wanted to do something important, but a new thought came in and pulled you away. Maybe you tried to ignore it, but then another distraction appeared. You felt frustrated, so you tried even harder. Maybe you finished your task, but you did not enjoy it. Or maybe you left it undone, feeling upset and tired. If this happens again and again, it begins to shape your experience of life. After many days, months, or years, this way of living can become normal. People wake up each morning expecting to fight with their own minds. They think of attention as something they must control at all times. Any sign of distraction feels like a failure. The mind feels like an enemy instead of a part of them that could help. It is important to see that every person goes through these feelings. No one is alone in this experience. It does not matter how old you are, where you live, or what kind of work you do. The mind is the same for everyone. It is always changing, always bringing in new ideas, new memories, and new worries. It is natural for attention to move. You are not doing something wrong if this happens. You are just being human. Sometimes you may notice that even when you're very interested in something, your attention moves. Maybe you love to paint, read, play music, or talk with someone close to you. Even then, your mind may bring in different thoughts. This does not mean you are not interested. It just means your mind is alive and always moving. The problem only comes when you believe you must stop this from happening all the time. The search for control is really a search for a way to live with your mind in a friendly way. Most people believe that the only way is through force, but there is another way. You can begin to see your mind as a partner, not an enemy. Instead of fighting every thought or distraction, you can learn to relate to your mind with curiosity and patience. This starts by understanding that the way your mind works is not a mistake. It is simply the way all minds work. If you begin to accept that distraction is normal, the pressure to control everything starts to decrease. You do not have to use all your energy forcing attention. Instead, you can look for a wiser, more gentle way to live with your mind. Your day can still have structure, and your work can still get done, but the struggle goes away, and daily life feels lighter. You can still make plans and try to focus. But if distraction comes, you do not have to punish yourself or try to push it away with force. You do not need to believe that the only answer is more effort. There is another approach that is simple but requires a change in thinking. It begins by looking honestly at how your mind works and seeing that you are not alone in this struggle. Let yourself remember that you do not have to live every day fighting with your own attention. You can learn new ways to work with your mind instead of pushing against it. The wish for control does not have to mean more stress or pressure. There is a kind way to have control, one that starts by noticing what happens inside you and allowing it to be there, without judgment. The first step is simply to notice that the wish for control is strong in many people. Notice also that trying to control your mind by force does not bring real peace. These realizations can open the door to a new experience of living. Life can become less of a battle. The gentle path is possible, and it starts with the understanding that your mind, just like everyone's mind, is always moving and changing. That is not a mistake. It is simply the way things are, and there is a way to live well with it. Many people spend each day trying to pay attention, but few people truly stop to think about what attention really means. When you start to notice your own mind and how it changes during the day, you begin to see interesting things. Attention is not something fixed or unchanging. It does not stay in one place for a long time. Attention is the mind's way of noticing what is happening right now, but it can move easily. One moment you may be listening to a person talk. The next moment you remember something you need to do later. Then you hear a sound from outside. This movement is what many people call distraction, but in fact, it is something normal. Understanding the way attention and distraction work together can help you feel more at ease. The truth is that attention is always moving because your mind is active and full of life. Thoughts, memories, and feelings appear even when you do not plan for them. This is not a mistake. It is how all human minds work. When these things come up, your attention goes to them for a short moment. Some people call this losing focus, but it is just the mind doing what it naturally does. You may have learned that you should keep your mind on just one thing, but this is not how the mind works. Most people notice that their attention stays with one thing for only a short time. Then, it jumps to something else. This is normal and happens to everyone, no matter their age, job, or background. Some thoughts feel important and others do not. Sometimes you remember the past. Sometimes you think about what you need in the future. Your feelings can also pull your attention, like when you feel happy, worried, or even bored. There is nothing wrong with any of this. When you start to see that attention moves on its own, you can feel less guilty when you become distracted. It is easy to believe that distractions mean something is wrong with you. You may think you are not strong enough, or you may think you failed because your mind did not stay in one place. But if you watch your mind closely, you will see that it is natural for attention to move. you can begin to understand that distraction is not a sign of weakness. It is just the mind's way of noticing life. Sometimes people try to make their attention stay firm by using force. They focus very hard, they close their eyes to other things, or they repeat to themselves that they must not let thoughts get in. But when you try to force your mind to stay still, it often fights back. The more you try to control, the more ideas, memories, and feelings come up. This makes it feel like distraction gets stronger. You might try again and again, but the mind keeps moving. This is not because you are doing something wrong, but because the mind is made to be active. When you accept that attention and distraction are both natural, your experience begins to change. You no longer have to fight or become angry when new thoughts come up. Instead, you can just notice that your mind is moving and allow it to happen. This feels kinder, both to yourself and to your mind. The more you notice how attention works, the less stress you feel when your mind moves. You see that the mind changes, and this is something all people share. There are certain times when attention comes very easily. For example, if something happens suddenly, a loud sound, a bright color, or a strong feeling, your mind goes straight to it. You do not need to try or use effort. It just happens. At other times, attention moves slowly. You might listen to a talk for a long time, or read a book, or look at a picture. But even in these times, your mind sometimes goes away for just a second or two. Many people think that they should keep their attention on one thing for a long time without ever stopping. But even the people with the strongest focus have thoughts that come and go. They remember other things, notice sounds, or feel emotions. The attention may jump away and then come back again. The important thing is not to stop attention from moving, but to understand that this movement is part of being human. One helpful way to understand attention is to notice that thoughts, memories, and feelings are always appearing. Nobody asks for these things. Sometimes a thought about work arises. Sometimes a memory from childhood appears. At other times, a worry about tomorrow comes up. These things come and go on their own. You cannot always decide which thought will come next or when feelings will show up. This is just the normal action of the mind. If you watch yourself closely, you will see that distraction is not the same as failure. It only means that you notice something new or different. Most people try to make distractions go away by trying harder. They use effort, control, and sometimes even get angry at themselves. But in truth, fighting the mind only makes more thoughts and stress appear. All the energy spent trying to fix attention can make you tired or frustrated. What helps more is to first accept that the mind moves naturally. Then, when a new thought comes during a task, you notice it. You do not have to follow it, and you do not have to fight it. You can choose to return attention gently to what you are doing. The act of noticing a distraction is not a problem. It only becomes a problem when you add anger, shame, or strong judgments on top of it. When you notice your mind moving, you can remind yourself that attention is always changing. Sometimes you stay with a task for a long time. Sometimes you move quickly from thought to thought. You do not need to feel bad about this because it happens to everyone. The truth is that distraction is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that your mind is alive, awake, and paying attention to many things in life. You also do not have to blame yourself when attention moves. Most people learn to become angry or sad when they get distracted. They say things like, "I cannot do anything right," or "my mind is broken." These beliefs are not true. They are just habits that come from misunderstanding how the mind works. If you notice these kinds of thoughts, you can pause, take a breath, and remind yourself that attention and distraction are both normal. If you look at children, you can see this even more clearly. They play, they talk, and their attention jumps from place to place. Things around them catch their eye. Their feelings change quickly. They do not criticize themselves for these movements. As people grow older, they learn to judge themselves, thinking they should stop all movement of attention. But being human means change, movement, and noticing new things all the time. Recognizing this fact does not mean you should never try to focus. It only means you do not need to use anger, shame, or force against your mind. You can learn to work gently with attention. When you need to finish a task, you can gently bring your mind back, again and again without punishment. Each time you return your focus, you grow a little stronger, but you do it with kindness, not with stress. Let us also look at how thoughts, feelings, and memories appear. These often show up without warning, and sometimes they do not seem to make sense. You may be reading a book and suddenly feel sad. You may be paying your bills and remember a friend from many years ago. These experiences are very common. You may ask yourself, why does this happen? The answer is that your mind is always collecting, holding, and letting go of new things. This activity does not mean there is anything wrong. In fact, it is a sign that your mind is working just the way it should. It helps you notice things you need to remember, learn, or take care of. It also helps you feel emotions, enjoy good moments, and make choices for the future. The trouble begins only when you try to make your mind different from what it is. If you feel bad when your attention moves, remember that you are not alone. Every person in the world gets distracted. It is not a problem unless you make it into one by thinking you need to stop it completely. When you stop blaming yourself, you feel lighter and more at ease. You see your mind acting in its usual way, and you do not get upset at each movement. Distractions often come from outside things, like a noise or a person talking, but many distractions also come from inside. These are the thoughts that appear, the memories, and the feelings. You cannot stop them all. What matters is not to remove all distractions, but to see them as a normal part of life. When you accept this, you stop fighting what happens inside your mind. There is another important thing about attention. When you try too hard to stay focused, sometimes the mind becomes even more restless. You may have seen this for yourself. The more effort you make, the more the mind starts to wander. You may plan to work for a certain number of hours, but instead your brain jumps from place to place. This happens because the mind does not like strong control. It works better when it feels a sense of ease. If you notice the mind is jumping a lot, you can pause and take a slow breath. You do not need to stop every thought. You also do not need to judge yourself. Just notice what is happening. Bring your focus back with care, not with force. This small act of kindness toward your own mind can help you focus in a gentle way. Accepting both attention and distraction does not mean you lose control of your life. It means you understand how the mind works in real life. When you stop fighting the movement of attention, you find that you have more energy for the things that matter. You can move from one thing to another with less stress and more clarity. Your day can be organized, but you do not need to punish yourself for every moment of distraction. Each time attention moves and you return, you are learning a valuable skill. This skill is not about stopping every thought, but about coming back with kindness. You are practicing a new way of working with your mind. Instead of control coming from force and stress, it comes from understanding and ease. Over the course of a day, your mind may move many, many times. It may think about what happened in the past, what you need to do in the future, or how you feel right now. Sometimes these thoughts are helpful, and sometimes they are not. If you notice them, you can choose to keep paying attention to them or gently return to your task. This choice is always yours. No one can stop thoughts completely, but everyone can practice returning to the present with care. You may also want to pay attention to how your body feels when you are distracted or when you are focused. When you are fighting distractions very hard, your body may feel tight, tired, or restless. But when you accept distraction as normal and let your mind move, you may notice your body feeling softer or lighter. This is another sign that working with your mind gently is better for you than fighting it all the time. It helps to remember that you are living in a world full of things that want your attention. Every day, you see, hear, and feel new things. Technology, people, and your own thoughts ask for your attention. This is the world we all share. Trying to control attention perfectly is not realistic. What works better is to notice when your mind moves and gently return. Over time, this becomes easier and more natural. If you ever feel discouraged about attention and distraction, remind yourself that you are practicing something that all people practice. No one is perfect at this. There is no finish line or final victory. Every day is different, and your attention will change with it. When you accept this, life feels less pressured and more open. Understanding how your mind works brings a sense of freedom. You do not have to be trapped by every distraction, and you do not have to believe every thought. You can let attention move and still do what you need to do in your day. Your mind will bring up thoughts, memories, and feelings, but you can choose how to respond. This way of thinking takes time to grow, but it starts by seeing the truth about attention and distraction. They are both normal. They are both a part of living as a human being. The less you fight them, the more peace and control you can have. Not because you force your mind, but because you understand and accept it. Each moment is a chance to notice where your attention is and to bring it back with patience. Each time you do this, your relationship with your mind becomes a little easier and a little kinder. Life becomes less about struggle and more about living gently with your own thoughts. This is something you can practice no matter where you are or what you are doing. As you go through your day, notice how your attention moves and how you respond. Notice if you fight your mind or if you can let it change with kindness and understanding. The way you relate to attention shapes your whole life. By seeing both attention and distraction as natural, you open a door to a calmer and clearer mind. This understanding is the beginning of a new way to live. Every day, while you experience attention moving from one thought to another, there are also moments when you notice how you respond to distraction. The way you react to these moments says a lot about how you relate to your mind and about what habits you might have learned. For most people, when a distraction comes up, the first reaction is to push it away. You might tell yourself, "I should not be thinking about this now." You may try to silence your mind by using willpower. Sometimes you try to bring your focus back again and again, only to find that your mind keeps slipping away. When this happens, you could start to feel frustrated. Each time a distraction pulls you away from your task, you may become upset with yourself. You might think, "Why can't I just stay focused like I want?" You may feel annoyed or even angry about having these thoughts. Some people start to talk to themselves with harsh words, quietly or out loud. They might say, "I am lazy," or "I am not strong enough." These self-criticisms can hurt even more than the distraction itself. As you go through different activities, this struggle can repeat. If you need to read something, write, listen to someone, or finish a project, your mind may wander. When you notice this, you tell yourself, "Focus." You may tighten your body, hold your breath, or even clench your hands. The pressure to control attention grows stronger, and the experience feels more stressful. Instead of feeling peaceful, your body and mind get tired. Sometimes, after trying hard to keep your attention fixed, you reach a point where you do not want to try anymore. You may feel discouraged, like it is not possible for you to do better. You might think, "Everyone else can do this, so why not me?" The feeling of frustration piles up. Instead of being gentle with yourself, you form the habit of being strict, blaming your mind for every slip. After going through this many times, you may lose hope that focus can ever feel simple or natural. Some people try to fix this problem by using new tricks. They make rules, like working for a certain number of hours without a break. They set alarms or reminders that tell them to stay on task. They might use apps to block certain websites or to stop themselves from looking at their phone. While these tools can help for short periods, the mind often finds new ways to wander. A new thought, a memory, or a small worry can still appear. When these tricks do not work, people return to blaming themselves, feeling even more helpless. There are also moments when people pretend distraction is not happening at all. They ignore what their mind is doing. They try to force attention by blocking out anything else. But, even while pretending to be focused, they may feel restless inside. Thoughts, worries, or questions keep showing up. This hidden struggle increases stress and can make daily tasks feel heavy. Self-criticism can take many forms. Some people always tell themselves there is something wrong with their mind. They might say, "I am not smart," or "I just do not have discipline." Some believe that everyone else is better. They feel alone in their struggle. The more often you say these things to yourself, the more you begin to believe them. They turn into habits that do not help you work or feel calm. These habits can follow you from childhood into adulthood. When distraction becomes a reason for self-blame, negative feelings may grow. You can feel sadness, disappointment, or even shame. You may start to avoid doing important things because you expect to get distracted. You could stop trying to listen deeply to others or to finish important work just to avoid feeling bad when you slip. The mind then learns to expect struggle and trouble anytime focus is needed. Often, you may not realize how much this battle with distraction shapes your day. You wake up in the morning and remember all the times you failed to focus the day before. Before you even start your tasks, you feel pressure. When a distraction comes, you feel defeated. Even during moments of relaxation or fun, the habit of being hard on yourself remains. Your brain can become used to this pattern over many months or years. When you think about starting something, you remember past struggles. The expectation of losing attention makes it even harder to begin. You may spend time worrying instead of acting. When you do try, you work for a short time, then stop when distraction appears. The more this happens, the more impossible it feels to change. The fight with distractions and the harshness of self-criticism lead to more anxiety. Anxiety is when you feel nervous, tense, or worried, even when there is no big danger. Each new distraction feels like proof that you cannot control your own mind. This pressure builds up until your body reacts with tension, headaches, or stomach aches. Even when you are not working, this feeling can remain with you. Sometimes, after many failed attempts, people start to give up completely. They might stop trying to focus. They accept that distraction will always win. The feeling of control is lost. People might think, "There is nothing I can do," or "This is just how my mind is." This reaction is understandable, but it does not bring any relief or happiness. The cycle goes on, without any change or hope for something new. This whole battle takes away joy from daily life. Instead of enjoying your work, your family, or your free time, you carry around a sense of struggle. It becomes hard to rest because the mind worries about not doing enough. Even fun activities are colored by the habit of being self-critical. You might notice that your confidence goes down. You believe less in your own power to start, continue, and finish something. At the same time, trying to force attention does not make the mind any calmer. Instead, you get stuck in a loop. The more pressure you put on yourself, the stronger distractions seem to get. The stricter you become, the more your mind tries to escape. The habit of harshness keeps you trapped. There is also a social side to this problem. Sometimes you see other people who seem very disciplined or focused. You hear stories of those who work with no breaks or who are always productive. When you compare yourself to these examples, you feel worse. The truth is, everyone has moments of distraction. Other people may hide their struggles, but that does not mean they are free from them. Teachers, parents, and leaders often believe the answer is to punish distraction. In schools, children are told to pay attention or stop daydreaming, sometimes without understanding why their mind moves. At work, you might hear that strong will is the only answer. These messages become part of how you see yourself. When you believe them, you forget there could be another, kinder way to relate to your mind. Even when someone tries a new method, like meditation or breathing, they may use the same harsh attitude. They push themselves to do it perfectly. They become upset if their mind moves during the practice. The habit of fighting and judging does not leave quickly. It shows up in many new places. You may try to relax or to learn something new, but the battle between your will and your mind appears again. With each experience of frustration, you might become even less patient. Your expectations become bigger. You tell yourself you must not slip, even for a single moment. The mind naturally moves, but you see this as a failure. Soon, the idea of focusing becomes connected to fear and pressure instead of calmness. This way of living makes each day harder than it needs to be. You may resist starting new projects because you fear the struggle. You may avoid time with others because listening feels hard. Over time, you can lose the simple joy that comes from just being present with what you are doing. The relationship with your own mind feels like a battle instead of a friendship. There is also the problem of losing hope. When you expect every task to be a fight or every moment of distraction to be a mistake, you take away your own chance to grow. You do not trust yourself to pay attention or to enjoy anything fully. It may even seem that self-control is impossible, which brings more sadness. Some people add even more rules or punishments. They might stop allowing themselves to rest, enjoy a break, or have fun, thinking that being strict will fix their mind. Others might begin to doubt their abilities in all parts of life. This attitude does not help focus. Instead, it makes life feel smaller and less joyful. You might notice that long periods of stress about distraction can make other problems worse. You may sleep badly at night. You may not want to eat, or you may eat when you are not hungry. You could start to worry about things that do not truly matter, simply because the feeling of dissatisfaction remains. All of these responses to distraction are habits. They grow stronger the more often you repeat them. But a habit can be changed. In order to do that, you must first realize what is happening. You need to see that trying to force your mind and criticizing yourself is not the only way. If you let yourself notice your reactions without judgment, you can begin to shape a new and kinder approach. It is not easy to drop these habits overnight. You may still feel angry or sad when you get distracted. The important thing is to notice when the battle appears. When you catch yourself getting upset, blaming yourself, or giving up, pause for a moment. You can use that pause to see what you are telling yourself. Is it helping? Is it kind? Small steps can make a difference. When you notice you have slipped into self-criticism, gently acknowledge the feeling. Instead of pushing it away, recognize it as just another moment of being human. Remind yourself that everyone's mind moves and that you do not need to respond with anger. This small act is the first seed of a new habit. You can experiment with what happens if you react with kindness. If you lose focus, try saying to yourself, "It is okay. Attention moves. I will just try again." If you notice your body feeling tight, let yourself relax. Take a slow breath. If you forget something, remember it is normal. You can always start again in the next moment. There are other gentle actions you can take. You can prepare your space to help with focus, but without strict rules. You can allow a short break if your mind feels tired. You can talk kindly to yourself, the way you would talk to a friend. If you struggle, allow yourself patience. Each effort to respond with care is a step toward a new pattern. The mind is very good at learning habits. If you show yourself patience again and again, the habit of self-criticism starts to relax. The mind learns that it does not need to defend itself or run away. You can become your own support, not your own enemy. Changing your approach also helps other areas of life. When you feel less stressed about focus, you might become a better listener. You may find more joy doing simple things. You may even find it easier to try new things because you do not fear failure in the same way. When struggle drops away, space for new possibilities opens. When you support yourself rather than fight with yourself, life feels less pressured. You may work steadily, take gentle breaks, and return calmly to what you were doing. You can accept that attention moves. Instead of seeing each distraction as an enemy, you can see it as a simple part of being alive. A gentle approach does not mean giving up on your wishes, your work, or your goals. It simply means you try a new response to the old problem. When distraction comes, you do not need to use more anger, more harshness, or more rules. You can pause, breathe, notice, and return your focus with kindness. It is important to remember that strictness and punishing thoughts are not your only tools. You can use care, patience, and a gentle spirit. This creates space for change. Instead of fighting your mind every day, you can learn to work with it, slowly building trust and confidence. When you notice struggle building up, you can remind yourself that it is not forever. Each moment is new. Attention moves and you can always begin again. The power to respond with care is in your hands every single day. Changing your response to distraction will not happen all at once. You may have old habits of frustration or negativity, but as you practice new responses, the mind slowly learns a better way. With regular kindness and patience, you make it easier for yourself to start, finish, and enjoy any task or moment. Even when distractions are strong or when you feel tired, this gentle approach is always available. When you forget or fall back into criticism, it is just another chance to notice and return. The habits you build now can create a better future, one where focus is less about fighting and more about working calmly with your own mind. You may also notice changes in your body, in your feelings, and in your relationships. When you are kinder to yourself, others may feel safer or happier around you. You might listen more deeply or share more honestly. Your home and work life can become calmer. The habit of gentle attention will grow stronger one moment at a time. The more you use it, the more natural it becomes. There will always be distractions, but they do not need to steal your peace, your energy, or your sense of who you are. By responding to yourself kindly, even in small ways, you find a new freedom from old patterns. This is a simple but powerful change. With patience and practice, the way you relate to distraction can change your whole experience of daily life. The struggle drops away and a new sense of calm begins to grow inside and around you. When you stop fighting your mind and start responding with more patience and care, you begin to wonder if there is a better way to understand your thoughts. You may notice that softening your attitude helps a little, but sometimes you still wish for a way to handle distraction and worry without always battling yourself. At this point, you might get curious and search for wisdom that can help you live with your thoughts in a more peaceful way. This curiosity can be the start of something new and different. There is a very old approach that comes from Buddhist teachings, which is practiced in many places around the world. These teachings are not only for monks or special people, but for anyone who wants more peace of mind. In these teachings, the mind is not something to be forced or controlled with great effort. Instead, the mind is to be watched and understood. Ancient Buddhist teachers noticed that fighting thoughts or pushing feelings away only brings more pain and stress. They began to share that there is another option, and it is much gentler. In this ancient way, you learn how to notice what your mind is doing, but you do not have to react with anger or fear. You do not need to argue with your thoughts. You do not stop your thoughts, and you do not believe you must obey them. You learn to see them clearly, like seeing words written in the sky. You learn to let a thought pass, and you do not have to hold it or push it away. This way is calm and simple. It is called mindfulness, or sometimes clear seeing. Mindfulness does not mean making your mind empty. It does not mean trying to remove every distraction. It means allowing your mind to be as it is, while watching carefully. You see what appears in your mind right now. You notice your feelings, thoughts, memories, images, sounds, and whatever else appears in your experience. Instead of pulling on these thoughts or trying to hide from them, you allow them to come and go on their own. When you hear the word mindfulness, you might feel confused or think it is hard to understand, but it is simple. When you are mindful, you are noticing in a gentle way. You are awake to what is happening in this moment. You are not caught by your thoughts or your worries. You do not judge them. You also do not follow them endlessly. You just watch. The first time you try to watch your mind, you may notice that thoughts appear quickly, and one after another. One thought about food appears, then about work, then a memory, then a feeling. Sometimes you remember things from the past. Sometimes you jump into the future. Sometimes you notice something about your body. It may feel impossible to keep up with how many thoughts come. Ancient teachers say this is normal. It only shows that your mind is always active. Instead of being angry at this activity, you look at it with interest. You are not trying to fix anything. You are not trying to make anything go away. You are simply present, noticing what really happens inside you. If a thought rises about something you have to do tomorrow, you notice it. If a feeling of sadness comes, you notice it. If your mind jumps to a sound, you notice. There is nothing special you have to do except gently watch. This practice of watching the mind brings a new kind of calm. When you learn not to hold every thought tightly, your mind feels lighter. It is as if each thought is allowed to come, be seen, and pass on its own. You do not need to help the thought, nor do you need to fight it. You just keep returning to the simple act of noticing. With this approach, you do not ask yourself to be perfect. You do not blame yourself for every distraction. If you notice your mind wandering, you simply notice and gently return your attention. There is no punishment. There is no anger. If you forget to watch for a short time, it is not a problem. Each new moment is a chance to look again. In Buddhist wisdom, the mind is seen as something that moves by itself. This movement is natural. Instead of stopping the movement, teachers tell students to stay awake and kind. Whenever the mind shifts, you gently notice. If it comes back to your breath or your task, you gently stay with it. If it jumps away, you notice and return, all with patience. This teaching is not only for formal sitting or meditation, but for every part of your daily life. You can use this gentle watching while you eat, walk, clean, talk, work, or even rest. You simply notice what your mind is doing without adding judgment or force. For many people, this idea brings a feeling of relief. It is new to realize that you do not need to fight every thought or control every feeling. You can let your mind move and simply watch. You can return again and again, calmly, whenever you notice your attention is away. Over time, this gentle watching becomes a new skill. It feels natural, not forced. Ancient Buddhist teachers noticed that this kind of simple awareness leads to more stability in life. When you are gentle with your mind, you have more energy. Stress and tension start to drop away. You do not become angry about distraction because you know it is part of life. You do not need to work against your own mind. There are some simple steps for watching the mind with this Buddhist approach. The first step is to notice what you experience in this moment. It could be a thought, a sound, a feeling, or an image. You simply watch it silently. If a thought rises and leaves, you do not hold it. If a feeling comes, you accept it just for what it is. You allow each part of your mind to rise and pass away naturally, like a gentle wave. When you catch yourself judging your thoughts, you notice that too. You may think, "This is a bad thought," or "I should not think about this." Inside this practice, you watch even those judgments, noticing that they too come and go. You do not give them extra power by believing them or pushing them away. If you start to feel sleepy or restless, you notice that. If you feel sharp and awake, you notice that too. Every part of the mind is simply something to be seen. Some people worry that if they do not control their mind, the mind will become wild or out of order. But the ancient teachers explain that gentle awareness does not make the mind more distracted. In truth, it helps the mind become more balanced and clear. Each time you bring a calm notice to your thoughts, you learn to trust your mind more. The mind does not need force. It works better with gentle guidance. You may find that this approach helps even when life is busy. If you feel stress, just notice it without judgment. If you are late, you notice the feeling. If you are hungry, you notice it. If 1,000 thoughts crowd your attention, you just see them, allowing them to pass one by one or all together. There is no need for perfection. There is just the act of coming back each time. Sometimes you may notice the same thought rising again and again. You might worry about something over and over. Instead of getting annoyed, you treat it as any other thought. You notice and let it go. It may come again. You can repeat the gentle watching each time. You do not have to fight fear or explain the thought. Your only job is to be aware of it and allow it to move naturally. Through this way of watching, a natural calmness starts to appear. You are not holding so tightly to your own thoughts. You see them for what they are, just passing experiences. You see that you do not have to follow every idea or believe every worry. Some thoughts are helpful, some are not. You learn to let them move on their own. If you feel confused about what to do when watching your mind, you can use your breath as a place to return. Each time your attention moves, notice the next breath coming in and out. This simple act can help bring you back to the present moment. But even the breath is not something you need to hold tightly. If your mind moves away, you notice and come back again as many times as you need. Kindness is an important part of this teaching. If you are harsh with yourself, even while trying to be mindful, the struggle returns. The practice is to bring the same gentleness to your mind as you would to something precious. Old habits of anger and judgment take time to soften, but with regular practice, the mind learns to relax. You can use mindfulness in every part of your life. You might decide to practice for a few minutes in the morning, or you may simply stop to notice your thoughts throughout the day. You do not need special tools or a special place. All you need is a moment to pause and watch what is happening. With time, you may notice that your thoughts become less heavy. When you stop fighting them, they become softer and pass more quickly. You notice what is really true in each moment, rather than being caught up in stories or worries. Some thoughts may still return, and that is normal. The gentle practice is to watch, accept, and return with kindness. Many people find that, after some days or weeks of trying this practice, they feel more energy and ease. It does not mean life becomes perfect or problems vanish. You will still experience distraction, stress, and worry, but these do not last as long or feel so heavy. The habit of fighting yourself begins to fade, making space for peace. When you use ancient wisdom to guide your mind, you also open to something deeper. You see that you are not your thoughts. Thoughts come and go, but there is a part of you that simply notices. This part is quiet and steady, even if your mind is busy. Each time you use mindfulness, you meet this quiet part more often. For some people, hearing these ideas is new and strange. You may wonder if they really work or if they are too simple. The best way to discover their truth is to try a little at a time. Allow yourself to be gentle. Practice noticing your thoughts, feelings, and moments, and see how it feels. No one can do this for you. It is something you learn in your own life. There is no special goal in mindfulness. The point is not to be the best or to judge yourself if your mind moves a lot. You are just returning, kindly, again and again, to this moment. Each time you bring your attention back with care, you are changing your habits. You are creating a new way of living with your mind. When you begin to live with this awareness, you may find that you make wiser choices. You see more clearly what is important and what is not. The mind becomes less busy because you are not adding more stories, complaints, or judgments. Daily actions become smoother. You respond more calmly when someone says something or when a task is difficult. You begin to trust yourself, knowing you can return to calm whenever you wish. As you grow in mindfulness, you may also notice that your relationships with others become softer. When you watch your own thoughts without anger, it becomes easier to listen with understanding and not with harshness. You find more patience for other people because you have learned to use patience with yourself. There is nothing strange or hidden in this way. All it asks is that you watch your own mind gently and often. With each small effort to be present, your clarity grows. The habit of stress shrinks. Space for well-being and calm opens up in your daily life. With this foundation, you are ready to bring mindfulness to all kinds of moments, big and small. Whether you are alone or with others, working or resting, you can use gentle attention to live more fully. Life still brings change and challenge, but you have a steady way to meet each moment as it comes. You do not need to force your mind into stillness or silence. You do not need to use heavy control. By learning to watch, to accept, and to return, you are building a new relationship with your own mind. This relationship is one of kindness, wisdom, and gentle presence that grows stronger each day. Learning to watch your thoughts gently is a practice you can bring into every part of your day. It is not limited to special moments or special exercises. It does not need to look a certain way, and it is not meant to be perfect. With practice, you start to observe each thought, feeling, and memory that appears in your mind, and you treat them with a soft attention. This practice, which is called mindfulness, grows as you keep using it, little by little, in simple ways. When a thought comes, you notice it as it is. You let yourself see it, just as you might see something ordinary in front of you. There is no need to judge the thought. You do not have to say, "This is a good thought," or "This is a bad thought." It is just a thought. Every thought, no matter what kind, starts and then ends by itself. If you stop and watch closely, you will notice this. The thought rises in your mind and then, after a moment, it leaves on its own. If a memory appears or you feel worry or excitement, you do the same. You notice what is there. You do not need to act on the feeling right away. You also do not have to chase it or hold on to it. Each experience in your mind is welcome. When you see something new come up, you simply allow it. You let it rise and pass, just like watching small clouds move in the sky. Your attention can rest easily when you do not force anything. Sometimes a thought is very fast and disappears quickly. Other times it stays for longer. You may notice thoughts about your tasks, your plans, your friends, or about things that happened long ago. Some of these thoughts feel important. Some are only passing ideas. You do not have to push them away, and you do not need to pull them closer. You just let them be there, without reacting. When you observe your thoughts, you may notice a habit of judging them. You may call a thought useless, negative, or wrong. You may say to yourself, "I cannot have this kind of idea," or "I should only think about certain things." But when you add this kind of judgment, your mind usually feels tighter. You may feel uncomfortable, or you might stress yourself trying to stop certain thoughts. The simple practice is to notice the judgment and then let it go, just like any other thought. You are not trying to perfect your mind. You are learning to watch without adding extra weight. Watching your thoughts can be done anywhere and at any time. You can practice right now, wherever you are. If you are reading, pause and notice. What is one thought in your mind at this moment? Try noticing it without calling it good or bad. If you feel distracted, just notice the new thought that has come. Every time you practice this, you become a little more skilled at observing rather than reacting. Sometimes you may forget to watch, and instead you get pulled deeply into a worry, a plan, or a memory. This is normal. When you notice this is happening, you do not have to feel disappointed. You can gently bring yourself back to observing. If you return to watching for just a moment, that is enough. Each time you do this, you learn to come back peacefully instead of blaming yourself for drifting away. Feelings can also be observed this way. If you feel happiness, sadness, anger, or calm, you simply notice the feeling. You do not need to say, "This feeling should not be here," or "I need to feel something else." Let the feeling be there with your attention. You do not need to push it out or try to hold on. Just allow it. Notice it in your body and in your mind, and let it change if it wants. This gentle way of watching is not about controlling every part of your mind. It is about letting everything be present just as it is, with your calm attention. When you allow each thought and feeling to rise and fall, you make more space inside yourself. This space is peaceful and kind. It is a space where you can rest, even when your mind is busy. If you get pulled into thoughts often, you might find it helpful to use a gentle reminder. You can repeat to yourself, "Just notice." You can take a small breath and pay attention to the breathing. Breathing is always happening right now, and it is simple to notice. When you feel lost in your thoughts, watching your breath can help you return to observing. You do not have to watch every single thought that comes. You only need to notice a few moments at a time. Life is always moving. and the mind will always have something new to show you. Your job is to keep bringing a gentle curiosity and kindness to each thing that appears. When a difficult thought comes, such as a worry or an old fear, you might want to judge it or push it away. You may tell yourself, "I wish this would disappear." The practice is to see the thought kindly, without reacting. You allow it to be there, without making it a bigger problem. Often, when thoughts are not resisted, they leave more quickly. Judgment adds stress. Even judging yourself for not watching well enough adds stress. If you find that judgment is happening, just notice it as another thought. There is no need to blame yourself for not doing this perfectly. The work is always simple. Notice, allow, and let go with patience for yourself. If you become distracted, just come back to noticing. No one can stop the mind from wandering forever. The important thing is how you come back. Are you gentle or are you angry with yourself? Each time you return softly, your skill in watching increases. Letting go is a key part of observing thoughts. When a thought appears, you notice it and then allow it to move on. Holding tightly to thoughts or fighting with them uses up your energy. Letting go is not about pushing thoughts out, but about leaving them alone so they move naturally. It can help to imagine that your mind is a place where thoughts come and go, and where everything is allowed to pass without you having to act. Your role is to be like a quiet presence, just noticing everything without reacting. Each time a thought or feeling appears, you greet it, and then let it pass. This gentle watching builds a new kind of confidence inside. You learn that you do not need to fear your own mind. You do not need to hide from difficult thoughts. You can face them, allow them, and watch them go. The more you do this, the lighter you begin to feel. Sometimes your mind will bring up the same worry or problem over and over. This is not a mistake. Minds repeat thoughts, especially thoughts with emotion or meaning. You do not need to solve the problem right away, nor do you have to stop the repetition. Every time the worry comes, you practice noticing and releasing it gently. When you treat your thoughts and feelings with curiosity, wanting to see what is there, but without fear, your awareness grows naturally. You begin to notice more about your mind than you did before. You might see patterns or learn what triggers certain ideas. You might see that many worries are not as important as they first seemed. This new awareness helps you live with more ease. You do not have to be interested in every thought. Some thoughts are very ordinary and happen every day. You simply notice them and let them move. Important or difficult thoughts may want your attention for longer. You give them your calm noticing, but you treat them the same way. Watch, do not judge, and gently let go. This practice also helps with feelings of guilt, shame, or regret. Sometimes memories or old stories come back many times. When you notice these thoughts, you allow them to be present. You do not beat yourself up, and you do not try to run away. In time, these feelings can soften or go away, just by being seen with care. Returning to your focus does not mean you ignore your thoughts or feelings. It means you treat all of them as they appear, and then gently move back to your present action. If you are working, you notice a thought and then come back to your work. If you are walking, you notice your feelings and then return to walking. This gentle way makes it easier to stay present, even when your mind moves a lot. If you forget or if you have a moment when you react with judgment, it is all right. Each return to gentle noticing is another step forward. No one is perfect. Your mind will wander many times. Your task is only to notice and gently return, again and again. When you practice this way of observing, stress begins to lessen. This is because you are not wasting energy fighting thoughts. The mind starts to quiet, only because you let it be. The heavy feeling of trying to control everything starts to go away. You might feel more relaxed when doing your regular activities. Daily life becomes softer and less tiring. Each time you remember to observe gently, you are giving yourself kindness. You do not have to earn this kindness. You do not need to do anything special. Just by bringing awareness to your experience, you treat yourself well. Letting go of judgment is one of the hardest parts for many people. For a long time, you may have learned to criticize yourself for every thought or feeling. You can begin to change this by making space for everything your mind brings up. You watch thoughts as they come and let them be as they are. If you judge, notice the judging and do not push it away. This is also something you can let go. Sometimes people ask if this gentle watching means they will become careless or stop being responsible. But this does not happen. When you observe your thoughts without judgment, you are actually more clear and present in your life. You can make better choices because your mind is not clouded by fighting or stress. Observing with patience helps you feel more open and lighter. It makes it easier to connect with others because you have more space and calmness inside. You may find that you can listen to people better or that you react with more kindness. Your attention becomes steady, but it is not forced. It is soft and clear. Life will still bring moments that feel hard. There will be days that old habits return or times when the mind feels heavy. In those times, remembering to simply notice can be the most helpful thing you do. Even a small moment of gentle attention can bring relief. When you trust that your mind can be watched and understood without fear, you may also notice that problems become easier to handle. You do not panic as quickly because you know thoughts always change. Worry and difficult feelings pass by themselves if given space. Practicing gentle observing, even for a few minutes each day, helps form a new relationship with your mind. You move from being someone who is always fighting your thoughts to someone who works with them in a friendly way. This is a very deep kind of self-care. If you find it hard at first, or if your mind argues that this will not work, you can just try one small moment at a time. Notice one thought without judgment. Let it pass. Then try another later. Over time, your ability to notice and not react will grow. Even when things are busy or many thoughts come at once, you can choose to watch and not judge. If you become lost or overwhelmed, gently begin again. Every new moment is a chance to notice, allow, and softly let go. Patience is also important. No one changes the habits of a lifetime in only one day. The practice is a path that unfolds slowly. You are teaching your mind a new way. Each gentle moment of noticing builds the habit of peace and ease. You may find that you sleep better, that your body relaxes more often, or that your tasks feel easier. These effects grow with regular gentle observing. You may even notice a warm or calm feeling in your heart because you have stopped being your own enemy and have become a kind companion to your thoughts. Learning to watch your mind and treat thoughts without judgment does not require any special beliefs or traditions. Anyone, anywhere, at any age, can try this practice. The more you practice, the more you will see the natural freedom that comes from not fighting yourself. With this skill, each part of your life can change a little. You become someone who does not need to control everything in your mind. You do not fear distraction. You know attention can return gently as many times as needed. This is a quiet wisdom that can travel with you into every day and every situation. Holding your mind with gentleness and curiosity is not a one-time effort. It is something ongoing, a kindness you show to yourself with each breath and each new thought. This way of observing opens the door to more steady attention, more calm, and a friendlier life within your own mind and in your daily world. Soft, curious attention changes your life little by little. When you learn to watch your thoughts and allow them to come and go, something else begins to happen inside you. The way you pay attention to your life starts to feel different. You notice you are not so heavy or tense inside. Focus feels easier, not forced. Attention grows gently, like a soft light filling a room, bringing calm and steadiness to your day. You may wake up in the morning and notice your mind moving, but instead of fighting, you just watch. You remember that you can let every thought be as it is without judgment or pressure. You do not have to control what comes up. You smile at your mind's small movements and return to your actions again and again. Each time you do this with kindness, your attention becomes less tight and more steady. When you begin a task, your focus might wander. As soon as you see this, you simply bring attention back softly. There is no need to scold yourself or hurry. You do not have to control the moment. You give your mind space to move and also space to return. This returning is gentle. It happens as many times as you need, all day long. If worry starts to fill your mind, or if you notice the urge to force your focus, you remember your gentle practice. You pause, you breathe slowly, you notice the feeling of trying too hard. You do not fight this either. You just recognize it is there. Slowly, your mind learns a new way. There are long stretches of time in your day. Sometimes you feel busy, sometimes things feel calm. No matter what happens outside you, you have the chance to meet each moment with this gentle attention. You do not use shame or force. You simply accept your mind's rhythm and return to what you are doing. The benefits of building gentle attention are clear. You notice you are less tired at the end of the day. Your body feels more relaxed because you do not carry as much tension. Tasks feel lighter because you let go of the struggle to make your focus perfect. Gentleness brings a kind support to yourself and your mind. A steady attention means you are present for your life without needing things to be a certain way. You do not need silence or a perfectly clear mind. You only need to keep returning to what matters now in this moment. Every return helps you build a habit of being here with whatever is happening. Gentle attention is not weak and it is not careless. It is a soft power that helps you stay with your task without forcing your mind. If you find yourself pulled away, you guide yourself back, patiently and without judgment. This returning can happen 100 times or even 1,000 times. Each time, you treat yourself with softness, not anger. Over many days, you notice the difference in how you work and live. When a new thought arises, you see it, let it pass, and come gently back to your activity. When your emotions become strong, you notice this too and hold your own experience kindly for a few breaths. You do not punish yourself for being distracted or for feeling something deeply. This way of attending to life means you become more stable. Small problems do not push you out of the present. You handle interruptions without becoming upset or tight inside. Emails, messages, or phone calls might come, but you watch your mind move. You return to your main activity as smoothly as you can. If you need to switch to another task, you do so mindfully, without becoming lost or scattered. Your attention is not broken by movement. You have learned to notice when your mind shifts and to guide it softly back. This ability gives you a quiet power in every part of your day. You can eat your meals slowly, noticing every taste and sound. You can walk and feel your body move step by step. Your mind may wander, but returns easily when you remember to be gentle. You may think gentle attention means moving slowly all the time, but this is not true. You can work quickly if needed. You can answer questions, manage problems, and do many things in one morning. The difference is in how you treat your mind. You do not force your focus, and you do not beat yourself up if attention goes away for a moment. Your relationships can also feel this gentle change. When you listen to friends or family, you notice your attention moving. Instead of judging yourself for not staying focused, you soften, notice what is happening, and return to the person talking. This calm approach helps you hear every word more clearly. You become a better listener. You can wait for someone to finish speaking before answering. You also become more patient with yourself and with others. Gentle attention helps when you are tired, when you have a lot of thoughts, or when you feel bored. You use the same kindness, watching your mind as it is and not wishing it were different. This habit grows into something steady and clear across every part of your life. Day after day, gentle attention creates space for calm and steady work. If you make a mistake, you do not become angry. You notice, fix the mistake if needed, and move on with the same kind attention. If you feel pressure from others, you notice how your body and mind feel, and you treat yourself softly. This stops a small problem from becoming a source of pain. You may find that new ideas come to you more often. When you are not fighting your mind, there is energy left for creativity. When you are calm, you notice more about each moment, the colors in a room, the sound of your breath, the feeling of the chair, the warmth or coolness in the air. This rich experience is possible because gentle attention does not cut off the world. It helps you see it more fully. Working or studying becomes more balanced too. You can start a task with clear intention. When distractions come, you trust your ability to return. Your confidence grows with each gentle return. You may finish tasks more often and switch between them with less stress. The fight with yourself fades, replaced by trust in your ability to focus softly. Some people worry they will lose control if they stop forcing attention. But the truth is that your mind works better with kindness. Tension and pushing use up your strength. Gentleness gives you the energy to keep going all day without running out of willpower. Gentle attention and kindness do not mean letting go of goals or forgetting about progress. You still care about your work and your life. You can even achieve more because you are not distracted by an inner battle. The calm, clear mind that gentle attention creates is strong and able to handle many things at once, but without feeling overwhelmed. If you forget your gentle practice and become tense again, you simply begin once more. There is no limit to how many times you can return. Each moment is a brand new chance. Over time, the practice becomes your natural way of moving through the day. When you notice small changes in your mood or energy, you handle them softly. You may slow down if you are tired, or take a deep breath if you feel rushed. You give your full focus to one thing, and when another thought comes, you do not chase it or push it away. You return again, with patience. Letting your mind wander for a little while is not a mistake. Sometimes you see something new during those moments, a solution to a problem, a memory you want to remember, an idea for something fun. Gentle attention means you notice when this happens and then return to what you need to do. This practice is even more important when life becomes difficult. If you face a problem, you may notice the urge to panic or to fix everything quickly. With gentle attention, you allow your feelings to rise, you notice your thoughts as they come, and you stay with your body for a few calm breaths. Then you act when you are ready, from a place of steadiness. Gentle attention grows with every small return, every time you treat your mind with softness. Eventually, you do not need to remind yourself as much. Attention moves and you watch, return, and act with clarity. Distraction and focus both become normal, and neither one is scary or stressful. With this steady attention, your sense of time also changes. You are more present for each part of your day. You enjoy small moments, from the taste of food to a quiet walk or talk. You feel more comfortable moving between tasks. Your life feels less rushed and there is more room for gratitude. Being gentle with your mind means accepting that you will never be perfect, but you can always care for your attention. You do not hold tight to a need to do everything without error. You learn from each day and build more skill. Stress drops, kindness grows, and your strength is quiet and real. This way of relating to attention does not end when your workday ends. You can sit quietly with yourself in the evening, notice your breath, and let your thoughts settle just as you did all day. You let your body relax, knowing you do not need to force your mind anymore. Even when you face confusing or sad feelings, gentle attention is your support. You allow your emotions to rise and fall. You care for each feeling softly, without pushing it away or making it worse. This skill helps with worries, doubts, or moments of loneliness. If you watch yourself over days or weeks, you will see this new attention shaping all your experiences. You listen better, speak more clearly, and make decisions with more thought. You respond instead of react. This all happens naturally as gentle awareness becomes part of your life. Gentle attention also helps you be kinder to others. When you see someone is upset, you can pause, notice your own reactions, and then choose your words carefully. You understand that everyone has struggles with distraction and attention. You show patience, both to yourself and to others. This makes your relationship stronger and kinder. You spend less time feeling bad about being distracted or not doing tasks perfectly. You spend more time enjoying the small good things your day offers. When problems come, you face them with steady calm instead of panic or self-blame. If you lose your way or old habits return, you do not give up. You remember that every day every hour and even every minute is a new chance to return to gentle attention. This knowledge is a quiet strength inside you. With gentle attention, your mind becomes a safe place. You do not fear your thoughts. You trust your ability to return again and again to presence and clarity. You know you can move through each day with less stress and more ease. This new habit changes how you feel about yourself and about your life. You are not someone who fails to focus. You are someone who knows how to come back softly, as many times as needed. You may notice a growing sense of peace and gratitude just for being alive right now. There is no need to be perfect. Each gentle return to the present is a success. Each moment of kind attention is enough. Your life feels richer because you have learned to care for your mind, even in the middle of all its movements. The mind will always change. It will bring new thoughts, feelings, and moments each day. But now, with kind attention, you have a way to meet all of it, good and difficult, with patience, strength, and calm. You live each day from this foundation, moving from task to task, person to person, moment to moment. Gentle, steady attention is always with you, quietly shaping your experience and lifting the feeling of struggle from your heart and mind. As the habit of gentle and steady attention becomes part of your daily life, simple things begin to feel different. You may find a sense of ease as you move through each activity, whether it is something big or something small. Noticing your thoughts and returning gently to the present moment happens again and again, and soon this way of paying attention starts to shape each minute of your day. You begin to experience your daily activities in a new way. When you sit down to eat, you are able to notice the taste, smell, and color of the food in front of you with more clarity. You watch how your mind sometimes thinks about work, other people, or worries while you are eating, but you do not get upset. You just come back to each bite and the feeling in your mouth. A small moment like eating lunch feels alive and full because you are really there with it. You do not need the moment to be special. You simply give it your kind, present attention. It is the same when you walk outside or move from one room to another. Instead of rushing or getting lost in your thoughts, you begin to notice your steps, the feeling of your feet on the ground, or the air moving around you. If a distraction comes, like a task on your mind or a plan for the afternoon, you notice it, and then you bring yourself back to your walk. The mind drifts, and you simply return, with no anger. The world feels a little clearer, and your movements become calm and easy. Even activities that may have felt stressful before, like chores or tasks at work, start to carry less weight. For example, if you are cleaning, you may notice small details, like the water, the sound of movement, or the feeling of your hands. Your thoughts may try to pull you to something else. When you notice this, you gently come back to what is in front of you. This stops the mind from making simple jobs feel heavy or unpleasant. There is a quiet peace in just being with each action. When you listen to someone speak, at home, work, or in another place, you notice how easy it can be to lose yourself in your own thoughts, plans, or judgments. With gentle awareness, you practice coming back to the sound of the person's voice, their face, or their words. If you become distracted, there is no shame. You return. Bit by bit, it gets easier to really hear others instead of only thinking about your own ideas. In busy places, mindfulness helps you stay steady. If you are in a crowded store, waiting in line, or moving through noisy traffic, there may be many things happening at once. Gentle attention lets you notice your feelings and thoughts, maybe stress, boredom, or impatience, and also lets you see the space around you, hear the sounds, and feel your body right where you are. You might take a slow breath or return to your feet on the ground. Each moment can feel more open, less pressured. Doing work at home or at your job becomes steadier too. When you write, read, answer messages, or help others, you practice coming back to the task as often as needed. Mindful presence does not mean you never get distracted, but when your attention wanders, you simply return. There is no rush or stress. If you make a mistake, you notice without judgment and keep going. Your mind feels lighter and tasks no longer use up all your energy. Your relationships become kinder and closer. When you are present with others, people often feel that you are truly listening and that you care. You are less likely to interrupt or hurry someone along. If you feel your attention drifting, you notice and gently return. Small moments with family, friends, or co-workers begin to matter more. Conversations become deeper because you give your whole self to each word, each silence, and each feeling. Gentle presence helps with difficult situations as well. If you are talking with someone who is upset or experiencing strong emotions, you use mindfulness to stay calm. You watch your own reactions, your thoughts, and your feelings. Instead of becoming lost in another person's upset, you keep a steady space inside yourself. You can respond with honest words and kind actions, even when things are tough. You may also notice more small joys in your day. A few minutes of sunlight through the window, the sound of music, the smell of something cooking, or the touch of a warm hand. These details stand out more because you are really there with them. Your mind is not lost in worry or regret. Even moments that used to seem ordinary now seem special because your attention makes them real and rich. Practicing mindful presence does not make every moment perfect. There will be times when you feel bored, angry, or tired. Sometimes old habits of rushing or worrying come back. Mindfulness does not mean pushing those feelings away. You welcome them, notice them, and accept that every day has many kinds of moments. You treat yourself with kindness no matter what you feel. Daily habits grow from small actions. You may wake up and spend a minute noticing your breath or the feeling of being in your bed. When you stand up, you feel your feet and take a slow, steady breath. As you wash or prepare for your day, you notice the movements of your hands and the change in your mind from sleep to waking. Throughout the day, you remember to pause and notice, where is your attention right now? Is your mind busy with planning, or are you present with what is in front of you? If you are distracted, you just come back, softly. If you are eating, you pay attention to the food. If you are working, your focus is on the task at hand. If you are speaking with someone, you are there to listen, not to judge or plan your reply. Regular activities become mindful practice. When you drink water, you may pause for one calm breath and taste the coolness. When you tie your shoes or fold clothes, you are present with the action. When you wait for a bus or sit in a meeting, you can notice your body, your feelings, and what is happening right now. There is no need for big changes. Each ordinary thing becomes a doorway for presence and soft attention. With practice, you learn that attention is not about being perfect or rigid. It is flexible. If your mind needs to move, you let it, but you also know how to return. If you feel restless, tired, or excited, you notice these feelings and give them attention too. You learn that you are not only your thoughts, your plans, or your memories. You are also the presence that sees all these things come and go moment by moment. Gentle awareness helps you when things are easy and when they are hard. If you face a busy day with many demands, you keep returning to the present. When you feel pressure at work or home, you use a slow breath to return attention to your body and what is happening now. If a problem appears, you notice how your mind reacts. You feel your feelings without becoming lost. Because you are present and calm, you see more clearly how to act. You may find you are more creative when you live with mindful presence. When you are not busy fighting your thoughts or worrying about doing everything perfectly, there is more space for new ideas and solutions. If you face a challenge, you give yourself time to watch quietly and let insights appear. Creativity comes when you are relaxed and open, not when you are tight and anxious. This presence also affects how you move between different parts of your day. When you finish one task and need to start something else, you pause for a few seconds, breathe, and notice where your attention is. You let go of the last activity and gently start the new one. You do not drag old stress or negative thoughts with you. Each new beginning feels lighter because you are not carrying a heavy burden in your mind. If you notice your old habits returning, such as criticizing yourself for not focusing or worrying that you are not doing enough, you can pause, see the habit, and return to kindness. You remind yourself that attention can always return and that each moment is a new start. You do not need to make the past perfect. You simply act with care, right now. Gentle presence works in all situations. If you are alone, you can watch your thoughts, feelings, and body. If you are with many people, you can still notice your reactions, your attention, and your breath. You carry your mindfulness with you like a soft support. Even in noisy or busy places, you return again and again to the present. This mindful way of living also helps you face pain, sickness, or loss. Difficult moments are part of every life. If you experience pain in your body, you can notice the feeling without fighting it. You breathe and stay present as best you can. You do not need to make it go away. When you feel sadness or grief, you allow those feelings too. This acceptance brings softness and comfort. Even when life is hard, your relationship with yourself changes quietly. You start to trust that you can handle your own thoughts and feelings. You are not afraid of worry, sadness, or anger because your practice has shown you that all feelings move and change. You also notice more hope and more small moments of happiness. Self-judgment grows weaker. Trust and patience grow stronger. Mindfulness can be brought into group activities as well. If you work on a team or share time with others, you notice what is happening inside you while also seeing what is happening outside. You listen with care, speak gently, and wait your turn. You feel more connected, and others feel it too. Kindness and respect begin to fill your conversations. Technology has a big place in daily life. You use your phone, computer, or television each day. Mindfulness helps you notice when you are pulled away by a message, a call, or an image. You do not judge yourself. You gently return your attention to your purpose or step away from the screen for a moment of quiet. You become aware of your habits without needing to blame or force a change. Making space for quiet can also be part of your mindful day. If you have a few minutes free, you may sit with your breath, notice a view outside your window, or listen to sounds around you. This is not a show or a special activity. It is just being right where you are, awake and at ease. These undisturbed moments help bring balance and rest. As mindful presence becomes a habit, you may notice you need less entertainment or distraction to feel good. You enjoy the real world around you, the taste of food, the feeling of the wind, the kindness of a friend's voice. You still watch movies, read, or play, but these things do not cover over your feelings. They become part of the whole, not an escape from it. Gentle presence does not make you passive or uninterested. It brings you closer to each thing you do. If a problem needs action, you see clearly and respond. If a friend needs help, you give your attention fully. If you need rest, you notice the signs in your body and listen to them. Mindfulness is living each day with honesty, care, and awareness. Challenges do not disappear, but your approach to them changes. You meet each hard moment with calm, patience, and your clear attention. You remember you can return to the present at any time, no matter how many times you forget. Success becomes less about controlling everything and more about being fully here for each step and each breath. You do not have to practice in a perfect way to gain these benefits. Falling out of presence is normal. Coming back, even after being lost in thought for a long time, is always possible. Kind attention to each new moment is enough. Over time, your life is made from thousands of small moments of gentle attention. The more you practice, the more rich, steady, and kind those moments become. They build a new kind of day, filled with presence, care, and a quiet happiness that does not depend on outside events. You see more clearly that you can enjoy your own company. You can offer real presence and listening to others. You can rest in the middle of busy days and handle the ups and downs of life with a steady heart. Every part of your world and every small task in your day can be lived with this mindful attention. It is always there for you, ready to support you through anything that comes next. When you start living each part of your day with gentle, steady attention, you begin to notice new things about your own mind. Thoughts, emotions, and memories do not surprise or overwhelm you in the same way as before. Instead, you notice them with a kind curiosity. Over time, you realize that the mind is like moving water. Thoughts come, stay for a moment, and then go away. Even when you become distracted or lost in worry, it does not feel like a problem. You just return to the present without judgment and continue with what you're doing. By relating to your mind in this gentle way, you build a new understanding of yourself. You see that your mind is always moving and changing. On one day, you may wake up early and feel full of energy. Your mind may feel clear and light. On another day, you may feel tired or worried. Your mind may be busy with many thoughts or heavy with feelings. Each day is different because the mind is never the same. You begin to accept that thoughts, memories, and feelings will change through the day. In the morning, you can be excited about something. By afternoon, you can feel disappointed or bored. In the evening, you may feel grateful or even lonely. Instead of thinking that something is wrong when your mood or your thoughts change, you just see it as normal. This helps you stop fighting your own experience. When you relate gently to your mind, you do not feel trapped by every thought or story. For example, you might remember something difficult from your past. Before, this memory might have made you upset for the rest of the day. Now, you notice it is only a memory, a thought in the mind. You allow it to be there. You do not try to push it away or force yourself to forget. Soon, your mind brings up something new, and the old memory goes. By watching this, you see that you are bigger than any one thought or feeling. You are the one who notices not only the thoughts that come and go. Some thoughts do feel important. The mind may bring up worries about the future or questions about your life. With your gentle attention, you see that these are just thoughts too. You can welcome them, notice what they are telling you, but you do not have to act on every thought. You do not have to believe every worry or follow every idea. If a helpful thought appears, you can let it guide you. If a useless thought appears, you can just let it leave. You may see that some days your mind is very busy and full. Other days, your mind is calm and slow. Some people feel afraid when the mind becomes too busy or too quiet. They think, this should not be happening. When you practice mindfulness, you learn that all kinds of mind states are normal. If you feel restless, you let it be there. If you feel empty or flat, you notice that too. Each experience is a chance to see your mind more clearly. Because you now relate to your mind with more understanding, you start to see patterns inside yourself. You may notice that certain thoughts appear when you are tired, hungry, or stressed. You may see that memories from childhood show up during quiet moments, or that your mind creates worries late at night. Instead of fighting these patterns, you greet them with curiosity. You say to yourself, I see this is happening, and you treat it with care. You do not have to solve the pattern right away. Noticing is enough. As time goes by, you learn that not every thought needs a reaction. In the past, you may have felt you must follow every idea, answer every inner question, or fix every problem your mind creates. Now you see you can pause, breathe, and decide what really needs your attention. You are not held captive by your mind. You can choose how to act, which thoughts to use, and which to let go. When you listen to your mind in this gentle way, you also feel more connected to yourself. You begin to understand why you feel certain emotions or think certain things. You may look back on your day and see, when I was hungry, I became more angry. Or, when I felt scared, I remembered hard things from the past. This knowledge gives you freedom. You learn to care for yourself better because you see what is really happening inside. Sometimes the mind brings up strong emotions like sadness, fear, or anger. These are normal and part of every human life. When this happens, you let yourself feel the emotion fully, as it is. You watch how it grows and falls away. You do not need to judge or run away from it. Often you see that a strong emotion is like a wave in the mind. It rises, stays for a short while, and then leaves by itself. By treating your emotions this way, you do not become overwhelmed by them. Even sadness or fear feels less scary when you allow it to be part of your moment. You know that it is only a feeling and it will go away, just as all thoughts do. You can care for yourself with kindness, reminding yourself that everyone feels difficult emotions sometimes. If your mind keeps going back to the same worry or pain, you notice this as a pattern too. The mind repeats what it thinks is important. You can observe the same worry or story come back 10, 20, or even 100 times. You do not need to become frustrated. Each time you notice, and then guide your focus back to your body, your breath, or what you are doing now. In ordinary moments, you also see that your mind often creates stories about who you are. It may say, "I am not good at this," or "I always make mistakes." With gentle awareness, you notice that these are just thoughts, not facts. You learn to question your stories. You start asking, "Is this true?" Many times you see these stories are not helpful or real. You do not have to accept every thought about yourself as the truth. As you watch your mind with care, you become more compassionate to yourself. If you make a mistake, you do not say harsh words inside. You notice the disappointment or embarrassment, but it does not last forever. You forgive yourself, sometimes right away, sometimes after a short time. Mistakes become a part of learning, not a reason for harsh judgment. You handle life's ups and downs with a heart that is both strong and gentle. Your gentle relationship with your mind makes it easier to try new things or face uncertain moments. When you are scared, you notice the feeling, allow it, and keep going. When you're excited, you enjoy the feeling. When you are worried, you see it as just another part of your experience. This approach makes you stronger, but also more accepting of the times when things are unclear or hard. You may notice that you are more patient with yourself and with others. When you see your own worries and habits, you realize everyone else has these too. You understand that a friend's anger or a family member's worry is simply their own mind moving. You do not react as quickly or take things personally. You see each person as someone with their own busy, changing mind, just like you. By relating to your mind with more kindness, you open a space inside yourself for calm and understanding. You do not need everything to go your way to feel peaceful. You accept that life always changes, thoughts always change, and feelings always change. With this understanding, you do not try to hold on to good moments too tightly or push away bad ones. You let all experiences move through you, trusting you can handle whatever comes. This new way of seeing your mind stays with you through busy days, quiet evenings, and even challenging times. When you feel tired, you notice that too. You rest or take care of yourself gently. When you feel bright and energetic, you enjoy it fully. You begin to live with more balance because you know you do not have to fight your own mind. Understanding your mind this way also brings new curiosity. You may wonder why you always remember certain things or why you feel certain ways around certain people. You start to see connections in your own life. Maybe you notice old stories from childhood showing up, or you see how stress changes your thoughts. Instead of being confused by these patterns, you become interested. You learn about yourself, gently and without fear. Your relationship with your inner world becomes softer. You listen to your needs more carefully. When you are tired, you rest. When you are hungry, you eat. When you are sad, you allow softness. You do not force yourself to act tough or fix everything. You look after your own well-being because you know now how much it matters. Relating to your mind with care also helps you grow in other ways. Maybe you notice that you are more confident when you speak to others because you are not as busy fighting negative thoughts. Or perhaps you are less afraid to make mistakes because you know you can forgive yourself and try again. Your attention is steady even when things get busy or noisy. With this ease, you are also able to help others more naturally. When someone comes to you with a problem, you listen kindly, not just waiting to answer or to finish the talk. You see their feelings clearly and respond with real care. You are present with them because you are present with yourself. You might find that your creativity grows too. When your mind is not filled with judgment or shame, there is space for new ideas. You can play, create, write, sing, or problem solve with more freedom. Your mind helps you instead of blocking you. Accepting the changing nature of your mind makes every task less stressful. You know you do not need to be perfect. If your attention drifts, you return. If you make an error, you try again. You see learning and living as a kind, ongoing process. With a gentle relationship to your own mind, you stop feeling controlled by outside events. You realize you can respond to life with care, whatever it brings. And that peace comes not from trying to make your mind perfect, but from befriending it as it is. You no longer hide from your thoughts or avoid your feelings. You face what is happening inside with kindness. You use your gentle awareness as a guide through each part of the day: work, rest, relationships, and even times of difficulty. This relationship with your mind is always available, no matter where you are or what is happening around you. It needs only your willingness to notice and to return again and again with soft attention. The more you practice this, the more familiar and helpful it becomes. In the end, you see that your mind is both active and peaceful, both full and empty, always moving and always able to return to the present. You find comfort in the truth that you do not have to control or change every thought or feeling. You can be with your experience just as it is and trust yourself to care gently for your own mind. In every new hour, new feeling, and new thought, you hold this kind and steady attention close. It becomes your natural way of meeting yourself and the world around you. Your life fills with understanding, trust, and a sense of lightness that supports you through anything that comes next. When you practice being gentle and aware with your mind, you start to see changes that go beyond your thoughts and feelings. You notice that ordinary challenges of your days become easier to handle. The sleep you get at night feels calmer and deeper. You feel more relaxed in your body and less tense inside. As this way of paying attention grows, it brings many gifts into your life. Some you may expect, and some that may surprise you. Your nights begin to change first. Before, you might have felt restless when trying to sleep. Your mind would race with thoughts about the day, worries about tomorrow, or memories from long ago. Because you now know how to notice thoughts without fighting them, nighttime feels different. You see each thought come, you let it stay for a moment, and then you let it move on. If you cannot sleep right away, you no longer panic or blame yourself. You use slow breaths and gentle awareness. Over time, the body learns that bedtime is safe and peaceful. Worries lose their power to keep you awake, and sleep comes more easily and fully. With deeper rest each night, your days feel different too. You wake up with less tension in your body. Your mind is clearer, and you feel a quiet strength that you carry through the hours ahead. As you move through the morning, you continue using gentle attention. If stressful thoughts appear, you do not let them build pressure or hurry in your mind. You greet each one, give it a moment of awareness, and watch it leave. Slowly, this becomes your new habit. Your relationships start to shift. You find it easier to listen and to understand others. You do not need to prepare what you want to say in every conversation. You are more present, so the people you love feel heard by you. You hear laughter, sadness, worry, and excitement as they are shared with you, and you respond with your own truth instead of rushing to solve or defend. If you disagree with someone, you stay steady and calm. Even in difficult moments, your kindness helps open new space for understanding. The world around you also feels less busy and less harsh. Daily tasks such as cooking, cleaning, or shopping become opportunities to practice kind awareness. You see small details like the look and sound of water, the pattern of your steps, or the faces of strangers. Your mind brings you thoughts and feelings, but you continue to come back gently to what is real in front of you. Ordinary moments hold simple joys when you are present for them. Your work, whatever it is, becomes steadier. When you sit to write, build, teach, organize, or listen, you bring your full attention to the work. When your thoughts wander, you notice and return again and again with patience. This makes you more patient with others as well. If a mistake happens, you are able to look at it clearly, fix it, and move on without turning the mistake into a heavy story or source of stress. Success feels possible because you are present in each small step. Stress and worry, which once filled so many of your days, begin to let go of their hold on you. The practice of mindful attention helps you feel safe. You trust that you know how to come back to calm, even on the hardest days. When worry visits, you remember that it is only a passing thought or feeling. You greet it, let it move through you, and return to whatever you are doing. Over time, worry comes less often and is easier to manage when it does. With less stress, you find your body begins to relax too. The tight feeling in your stomach or shoulders becomes softer. Old pains or aches may seem lighter. You sense your breath moving more freely. When you feel tired, you notice it and rest. When you feel energized, you use that energy in a steady way. Taking care of your body becomes important, not as a rule you must follow, but as a kindness you want to give yourself. Facing problems becomes easier. When something goes wrong, you do not blame yourself or get trapped in endless worry. You ask, what is the next step? You focus on what you can do, rather than what you cannot fix. You no longer feel lost in your own mind. Each moment becomes something you can handle, even if it is difficult. You feel more freedom as you notice that you are not controlled by your thoughts or your problems. You become able to watch fear, anger, sadness, or doubt, see it for what it is, and return to calm as often as needed. This freedom gives you the energy to make choices you care about and to try new things, because you are not trapped by old stories of "I can't" or "I am not good enough." As time goes on, you find your mind becomes more creative and open because you're not fighting your thoughts. New ideas appear more easily. You might find yourself wanting to draw, write, solve problems, play music, or invent something new. Each day, you notice moments when you are not pushing away the mind and fresh thoughts arrive. Kindness, too, grows more natural. You are less hard on yourself for mistakes and more forgiving of flaws in others. When someone is difficult or makes an error, you are able to see that they are just like you, learning and moving through their own moments of confusion. Patience rises quietly inside you, not as a job you must do, but as a gentle habit formed by stopping the fight with your own mind. When you listen with this gentle attention, people trust you more. They feel safe to talk about hard things. You give your time without feeling impatient or pulled away by thoughts. You remember what someone said. You notice the feelings behind their words. Conversations become more true and full, not because you control them, but because your quiet presence makes space for honesty and care. You notice, too, that you are less likely to feel lonely, even when you spend time by yourself. Your own company feels more peaceful. Silence is not a problem. If a sad or empty feeling comes, you allow it, knowing it will pass. Sometimes the mind brings joy or simple calm for no clear reason. You start to enjoy quiet times, too. In moments of conflict or trouble, your response is softer and wiser. You do not need to win every argument or prove you are right. You listen. You speak simply and truly, without anger. You may find it easier to forgive. Even if someone else is still upset, you are not pulled far from your balance. Returning to calm feels possible, and you do not carry old anger or hurt with you into the future. Old fears may visit, but they do not stay as long. You watch them, let them rise, and let them go. As each fear passes, your confidence grows. You begin to feel strong from the inside. You trust in your ability to handle good days and hard ones, because you always have the practice of being present and kind. You may also gain a sense of more time in each day. Because you are focused and not caught by endless distractions, each task and each moment can take the time it needs. You rush less. You notice small beauties wherever you are. Even when you need to move quickly, your mind is not racing with extra weight from worry. With mindful presence, your relationships become more joyful and close. You see the changes in others with patience. When someone else is sad or angry, you do not take it as your responsibility to make everything better. You offer care and do your best, but you do not lose yourself in another person's feelings. Balance is easier to keep. Helping others feels more open too. You know that you are not perfect and that no one is. When you offer your time, support, or care, you do so without expecting anything back. You simply give because it feels right. If someone does not notice or thank you, you are not hurt. The act of kindness is enough. Small acts of care feel lighter and more meaningful. As you stay present in each part of your day, you may also notice a quiet happiness filling your spirit. It is not the noisy happiness that depends on outside things, winning, riches, or praise. Instead, it is a gentle feeling that you are okay, even if the day is ordinary or even difficult. This calm joy is always waiting in the background, even if you are not thinking about it. You also become more patient with changes and uncertainty in life. When something unexpected happens, you use your gentle noticing to see how your mind reacts. If fear or confusion appears, you receive them without rushing to fix or judge. You see that every life has surprises, problems, and losses. By seeing your own mind's movement, you accept changes more easily and find peace within them. The freedom that comes from not being tied to every thought gives you more choice each day. You decide more clearly what matters to you. You see what is worth your time, what you can let go, who brings kindness to your life, and what habits help you. Old patterns of trying to make everything perfect, or of saying yes when you mean no, begin to fade. When hard days come, and they always do, you remember that fighting your mind is not needed. You bring your attention quietly to the present, one breath or one step at a time. You allow sadness, fear, or anger to move through, and you know they will pass. Your confidence in yourself grows. You trust that you can meet whatever comes. When you fall into old worries or doubts, you return patiently. You may fall 100 times or 1,000, but each gentle return builds your strength. This is not because you never get lost or upset, but because you teach yourself that returning to gentle awareness is always possible. You start to see how your gentle mind helps others, not just yourself. Your calmness becomes support for children, friends, parents, or anyone you meet. You show by your example that it is possible to be kind, patient, and aware. This influence spreads quietly, one small moment at a time. The creative part of your mind blossoms. Ideas, hopes, and dreams come to you more naturally. Because you're not busy fighting, doubting, or running away, you have room for new choices. You may begin new projects, try new activities, or explore new places inside and outside yourself. Each day becomes less rushed, less filled with pressure, and more filled with calm and slow moments. When you are tired, you can rest without guilt. When you finish something, you can enjoy the quiet that follows, knowing you do not need to fill every moment with effort. You see finally that gentle and mindful awareness brings many gifts. Some are small, like better sleep or fewer headaches. Some are big, like stronger trust and closer relationships. Some are surprising, like creative ideas or deep peace. Your mind, once a place of struggle, is now a friend and companion. You carry this peace with you wherever you go and into whatever comes next. This way of relating to your mind does not close you off from the world. It opens you to every new moment, feeling, and person you meet. It is the simple path to a life lived with less fear and more joy, more trust, and gentle acceptance every day. Carrying a sense of gentle presence with you each day is something that grows through regular practice. You realize that this way of being with your mind, kind, patient, steady, can be lived at any time, in any place. Whether you are busy or calm, alone or with others, working or resting, you can keep a soft attention on your thoughts and the world around you. You do not need anything special to practice this awareness. There is no tool or outfit that is required. You do not have to find a quiet mountain or a silent room. Your life as it is, with all its movement and sound, is enough. You might start your morning still before anyone else is awake. just feeling your breath or the soft touch of your blanket. Maybe you pause before getting out of bed and notice the contact of your body and the air. You listen for sounds, close or far away. These things are always there for you. You might carry this quality into your first movements, your feet meeting the floor, your first steps, the feel of water as you wash your hands or face. Each small thing can be greeted with attention and care, even when you feel sleepy or not ready for the day. As your day begins, the world can be loud or full of choices. You may have family to help, food to prepare, or work waiting. Messages and calls come to your phone, plans wake up in your mind, ideas and memories pull your attention in many directions. Even with so much happening, the practice remains the same. You pay attention to what you are doing. If you are making breakfast, you notice the shapes, colors, and smells. If you are speaking to someone, you listen to the sound of their voice, the feeling in your heart, and your own breathing. For many people, moving through the day includes travel, chores, or sitting at work. No matter where you are, you can bring your awareness to the movement of your body, to the feeling of your seat or your shoes. If you are sitting, let yourself feel the support of your chair and the way your body rises and falls as you breathe. If you are walking, pay attention to each step, even if just for a few seconds. The practice is simple. You return, again and again, to now. At times you may feel tired, and your mind may want to race ahead or pull you into plans and worries. This is not a problem. You notice and let yourself arrive back in the present moment. You have learned not to fight your thoughts and not to judge yourself. You know each thought or feeling will pass. By coming back to now, you support your mental well-being, even during stress or busyness. Ordinary days also have times of waiting. You might stand in line, sit in a waiting room, or find yourself looking at your phone to pass the time. These can be moments for practice too. You feel your feet on the ground or your weight in a chair. You watch your breath and notice the life happening around you, the faces, the air, the sounds. These times of waiting are not lost minutes. Instead, they are small doors to presence and calm. The practice continues whether you eat, work, rest, or move. You taste each bite of food, letting your mind be with the simple act of chewing and swallowing. You listen with full attention when talking to others, even if only for a few seconds at a time. When work asks for your focus, you bring your gentle attention to each part of your task. If your mind wanders, as it always will, you come back with patience. This is not something you have to force. It comes from understanding the natural way of the mind. When something difficult happens, such as a disagreement, a problem at work, or a worry about health, you use your awareness to notice your first response. You might feel tension, anger, fear, uncertainty, or the urge to escape. Instead of following these reactions or blocking them, you watch, even if it feels uncomfortable. You pause for a breath. By witnessing the movement of your mind and body, you give yourself the chance to respond with kindness rather than simply react. You may find that a calm answer comes to you, or you may choose to step away and wait until your feelings are more settled. Even when you are busy, small spaces can open for this awareness. A minute of steady breathing, a few seconds of feeling your body, a sight or sound that brings you back to this instant. They gently rebuild your sense of balance again and again throughout the day. If you lose your way or fall back into old habits of worry or judgment, you begin again, without shame. As evening comes, you let yourself unwind. You notice the light, the change in the air, the slowing of noise. You become aware of your tiredness, your hunger, or your feelings about the day. You practice letting go of the events of the day, neither clinging to them nor running from them. Preparing for rest, you treat your body with care. You may take time to breathe quietly, notice the softness of your bed, or listen to sounds around your home. Gentle awareness eases your mind and body into a place of rest. This allows for deeper, calmer sleep and a kinder end to each day. You do not need to wait for special days or perfect moments to use this practice. Birthdays, celebrations, problems, and ordinary times can all be met with simple presence and kindness. If you remember even a few times each day to come back to yourself, to your breath, your senses, your body, or your task, you reinforce the habit of living with awareness and care. This way of living is not about living more slowly or doing fewer things. It is about meeting each thing, even busyness or confusion, with attention and honesty. You act when needed, rest when possible, listen with all your effort, and forgive yourself each time you forget. Gentle awareness lets you feel alive in each hour, rather than just moving through time without noticing. Your mind will always return to its natural habits. Thoughts of the future or past will appear, feelings will rise and fall, new worries or dreams will take shape. Each time you notice this movement, you remember you have a choice. You can become lost in the noise, or you can allow the thoughts to come and go while you rest in the present. This skill grows stronger the more often you practice. Others may notice changes in you, even if you do not talk about your practice. Your speech becomes softer, more patient. You listen with more warmth. Those close to you feel safer or more understood because your presence carries less urgency and more care. At work or in your family, you are not so easily pulled into anger or argument. You do not need to have all the answers because you trust your ability to meet each moment as it comes. Gentle awareness helps during hard times too. When pain, sadness, fear, or disappointment appear, you hold them with patience instead of escaping or denying. You learn to stay close to your own feelings, to listen, cry, rest, or ask for help if needed. The practice gives you the confidence to move through dark or confusing hours, knowing that nothing in the mind lasts forever and every moment is new. When you feel joy or gratitude, you enjoy those feelings without clinging or demanding that they stay. You become open to the flow of your days, good, bad, and every shade in between, without feeling controlled by them. By trusting that attention can return, you no longer feel desperate to fix every moment or every thought. With time, trust deepens in your own ability to care for your mind. You are not afraid of what thoughts may come. You do not fear distraction, boredom, or even strong emotions. You know you can always observe, allow, and gently guide your mind back. You also learn to balance being present for yourself and being present for others. When someone is speaking to you, you listen as fully as you can, putting aside your own thoughts and worries for that time. When you are alone, you let yourself rest quietly or care for your own needs with patience and kindness. This balance means you have more energy and more honesty for everyone. As you move through the ordinary and the unexpected, you return again and again to simple, kind attention. Even if pain or stress appear, you know you can touch them gently and not let them take all your energy. When good things come, you celebrate with gratitude and presence. The story of each day becomes one of care, balance, and true living. Over many weeks, months, or years of practicing this way, the changes in your life become even deeper. You notice less self-judgment, less fear, and more trust in yourself. You become less controlled by the outside world and more steady in your own mind. You see problems clearly and respond well, but you do not make your value depend on fixing or winning. The kindness you show yourself also touches people around you. Children, friends, or strangers may feel a space of calm or understanding when they are near you. At work and at home, less drama and noise enter your life. Instead, there is more honest talk, softer feelings, and more repair after mistakes. You feel more whole and alive, even when life is difficult. You will still forget and get lost sometimes. No person lives only in gentle awareness. You will have days of hurry, days of sadness, days where old habits seem to return. Each new morning you can begin again with a small breath and the trust that this kindness can return as many times as you need. There is no final test or score. The process of living with a kind mind is enough. When you think about all that you have learned and practiced, you see how much your daily life has changed. You started by wanting to control your mind, maybe out of frustration, maybe out of worry. You tried force and judgment but learned they did not bring calm. You discovered ancient wisdom that taught you to notice, allow, and return with kindness. You learned that thoughts, feelings, and memories move naturally. By observing without judgment, you built gentle attention. This helped you face your day with greater ease and less struggle. You saw that gentle attention is not weakness, it is steady, patient, and wise. Bringing this presence into everything, eating, walking, talking, working, made your life richer and more full. You became able to watch your mind, relate to your emotions, and care for yourself and others. Old habits of self-blame and worry loosened their hold. Joy, rest, creativity, and true connection grew in their place. You do not fight your mind now, you live with it, gently and wisely. Every day, with each breath and each thought, you remember that attention, presence, and kindness can return at any time. Your life as it is, in every small moment, is enough.